Come hook a guat day, we.
You did it! If I relied on you, you'd be starving.
There is what it's all about.
He's not kidding.
Holy jeez. That's a nice one, eh?
Tell me he won't get away.
He could do.
If you've never lived this long, you got to do this, I'll tell you. What a way.
Okay, let's get him in here. Come on. Yeah, let's see how big of a fish you got here. Hi, my name is Gary Cooper. I'd like to welcome you to another page of my fishing diary. And today what we're going to do is we're going to go up to Duncanville Lodge up in Rivers Inlet. Now what's interesting about Rivers Inlet is there's two popular areas to fish. One is at the mouth of the inlet and the other is at the end of the inlet. Now if you fished at the end of the inlet, which is really famous, and that's the real Rivers Inlet fishery, it is a catch and release fishery. It has restrictions in order to, especially on gear restrictions, and you know, they're trying to build up the stocks in those rivers. And the reason being is, one of the reasons is it's one of our last remaining rivers in British Columbia that carry gigantic salmon. And I mean, I'm talking about salmon over 70 pounds. So if you go to the end of Rivers Inlet, then you can be in for hitting a really big fish. And you're usually you won't be trolling for them necessarily. You'd be fishing cut plug herring, I believe, is the only way you're allowed to fish for them, with barbless hooks. And there's a real, in that area too, there's a real heavy glacial flow that comes into it, which leaves a lot of glacial silt in the top 10 feet of water. So usually when you're fishing, you're only fishing underneath that glacier silt, so you're fishing in fairly shallow water. But if you get a big fish on there, hang on, because you're in for a ride. But just remember that you're not taking anything home there. You're going to be releasing it, especially the trophy fish. But on this particular day, we were fishing at the mouth, and this is a great area too, because what happens is, not only do you have fish that are coming through to run up to the end of the inlet, but you're also getting a lot of fish that are migrating down and probably come through the inside passage of Vancouver Island through Georgia Strait, and they'll be hitting a lot of different rivers. So it's a good, and you're at the northern end of Vancouver Island, so it's a really great place to catch some nice fish. And I'm talking about great bottom fishing, I'm talking about great halibut fishing, great coho fishing, and great salmon fishing. And it can be a pretty popular spot. And also a very beautiful spot. You can see grizzly bears there, and, you know, on the shores, and eagles fishing, and yeah. Anyway, I could talk about Rivers Inlet forever, but let's head up, and we're going to go fishing with Corey up at Rivers Inlet.
Just north of Vancouver Island, there's a meeting place of salmon, that is. Migrating salmon from the north take many different avenues. They either head outside the west coast of Vancouver Island, or take the inside passage through Johnstone Straits, or they migrate to the many inlets of the Central Coast. One of these inlets is world-famous Rivers Inlet. If you're lazy like me, guides can be obtained for an additional fee, but are generally not required. The waters are fishy, and the area is known for big salmon, big coho, as well as some of the best bottom and halibut fishing around. So let's join my guide, Corey, and myself as we explore a taste of Rivers Inlet.
We're right here, as you see, in the shipping lanes, fishing offshore in the mouth of Smith Sound, just south of Rivers Inlet. We're headed to Thorndike Shoal, the outer edge of Thorndike Shoal, and we're fishing these pinnacles out here, looking for Chinooks and Cohos. Lots of Cohos come through here around this time of year as well.
Well, there's just a slight drizzle.
Just a light rain.
Yeah, just.
This actually isn't nearly. This is raining at about 40% of Rivers Inlet maximum rain capacity.
Maximum rain capacity. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now at maximum rain capacity.
That's a new word. I just made it up.
I like that. You're playing her. On deck.
Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Oh. Be there. Yes.
Don't say much, Corey. Be nice and quiet there. What have you got there? A coho?
Haven't had a look at it yet. Looks like a nice little coho.
Yeah.
You want to grab the net for us there, Gary?
I sure will. Let me just. You can come out here now and get wet. I was just talking to our cameraman. He's been. He's the only guy here who's got a dry rain suit on.
Just a strong, nice little coho here, I think. Oh. Whoa! Nice airtime. She is bouncing around like crazy.
Over here.
Nice fish. That's a gorgeous fish.
Sure is. Sure took it nicely off of the downrigger there, didn't he?
Sure did.
Yeah, that's a nice coho. What a lovely size fish that is, eh? Look at that!
That is a nice fish.
They say up here at Rivers that the coho get legendary in size. Like everyone I talk to say, oh yeah, I've had like so many over 20 pounds. I've never caught a coho over 20 pounds.
Believe it or not, this is average to maybe even below average size for this area.
Yeah.
Gorgeous white gums. Look at this. Beautiful coho. Calm down, buddy. Doing their patented roll.
Yeah. Very nice. So here we are. We're up at Rivers Inlet. Actually, in search of a lot of the big Chinooks up there, but I think it's next week you have the big Coho Derby, isn't it?
We do, so just in time.
Coho are coming in, and that's what the Coho look like. So on those fly rods, aren't they fun?
Oh, they're a blast.
That's the only way to play them.
They are a blast.
Anyways, let's get all cleaned up.
Let's get the line back in the water.
And you people can go and get a coffee while we clean that lens. And we'll be back with some of this neat river inlet fishing on a day that we would call, what are we going to call it?
Rainy.
A rainy day. Yeah, okay. Way to go, bud.
Thanks. Nice fish, Gary.
Yeah, it is a nice fish. Looks like a Chinook too, eh? He's
heading down like a Chinook.
Heading down like a Chinook, yeah. Sure is. Yabba dabba doo.
That's that 628 atomic plug. It's been so hot for me lately out here.
I'll just lower this here so that. Wow. Big fish. Out here in the slop, you know, we're out here, sort of in the open water sort of thing. If you go that way is Rivers Inlet. If you look up north, there's Calvert Island. If you look south there, you're going to look at Queen Charlotte Sound and Vancouver Island. But we're out in the slop, sort of looking for some more wilder fish than the
big mature springs and that you'll get right in Rivers Inlet right now, which are big. I mean, there's been 3 fish over 70 pounds. And Corey, who is like the senior guide for Duncanby Lodge, said, Gary, now we're into the backing. That's a lot of line on that. See that? That's 150 yards out.
That fish has taken some line on you, Gary.
Yeah.
That's a nice fish. Been getting a lot of nice springs out here. 25 to 30 pounds, high 20s. There is quite a few taies we get around this area too. But this is a major migration point for a lot of those 25 pounders. Those 4-year fish.
Yeah, you've seen some great fishing up here in Rivers Inlet too, haven't you?
Oh yeah, we get some, especially when the cohos come in.
Yeah.
And it's just a battle to get through the cohos to get down to those big springs.
Yeah. Well, because it was raining and that out, we decided to come up a little bit. We were fishing 45 and 65 feet, 50 and 60 feet. Just came up to that 36, which is that magic number that you like too.
That is.
For Chinook salmon, 36 is a real magic number. Always remember that when you're fishing for migratory fish. That 36 is really magic. And we thought it might be magic today, mainly because it's been raining all night, and the weather's a little stormy. So I'm just gaining inches on this guy. I think you're going to have to hop in a reverse or something there just to line on him here. Okay.
Help you gain a bit of line on them if I can. Just listen to that reel. Those hardy reels are nice, eh?
Aren't they beautiful? Yeah, I've hardly been able to gain any line on him at all, but now in the reverse, see the wind's pushing us this way, so that fish is wanting to stay that way, so try and get back my backing, and when I get back my backing, at least I know the fish is only 150 yards out.
That fish must have taken 200 yards of line on you there.
He has done easily, yeah. Well, I have 150 yards of main line on there. So the arm starts to cramp up a little bit on the lower part. It's been a while since I've played a Chinook again on the fly rod.
We hooked this fish just moments after we seen our lines dinging off a bait, large pilchards. And that's always a good sign. It was about maybe a minute after that, and we hooked into this nice spring. These atomic plugs really imitate the pilchards well.
You like to get a little more control on them than having 300 yards out.
Yeah.
And normally, I mean, we're just sort of out here playing fish, but normally if there were other boats in the area, we would have had to chase this guy. And
that's one nice thing about fishing around this area is, you know, we're the only boat.
We're
the only people here probably for, 5 or 10 miles.
Yeah, really. There he comes. He's coming for me now. What we're going to do, folks, is just take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with this glorious fish here from Rivers Inlet. Everything I got back, all of a sudden he wants to take away from me again. Rivers Inlet.
Weight is that fly rod, Gary?
This is a 12 weight.
12 weight is about perfect, I'd say, for this area, because you do never know when you hook into that 40 or 50 pounder and you need that extra backbone.
Yeah, really.
I fish around here with my 8-weight quite a bit, and once in a while I get into a fish that really gives me a run for my money. But that's what we're looking for out here.
That's what we're looking for. Sort of test your stamina, because you see you're standing in a bit of a swell, a bit of a sea, and of course you're playing a big fish, so your knees get shaky anyways. So we got to get up to him to tire him out, because he's just, the wind's just pulling us away from him, right? Mm-hmm. So he's just really sitting there.
You know, my best days fishing are always in the rain.
Yeah?
Always.
Well, I guess, as you say, it gets the fish moving, right?
It sure does. It brings them up to the surface too, gets them feeding.
Yeah.
You know, one theory I heard about the rain is that the fish actually feed more on the herring when it's raining, because they use the noise of the rain on the water to mask their attack. They use it as a tactical advantage to sneak up on the bait fish.
Really? So that's another reason to be even closer to the surface a lot of times too.
Another reason why it's worth getting out in the rain.
Yeah. Another reason why it's worth getting out, period.
Yeah.
This is Pacific Ocean fishing, my friends. Look at that water. Just look over at the side there, and you can see the slop on the water there. It's cold. But when you're playing a fish like this, it's not too cold. Also, you see when I'm pounding the line on the reel, I'm trying to get the line even on the reel, not over to one side. And that's done by, you can see how it's going through my little wee finger there. So laying it back and forth across. I've been playing him for a while now, but I think we're going to have a bit of time yet, because he's been more of a holding pattern, not really a swimming pattern.
Yeah, he hasn't been exhausting too much energy for sure.
He's sort of been sitting there.
I think you got another good run left in this fish, Gary.
Oh yeah. Huh?
Taking a win on you, eh?
Yeah, let's get up on him as much as we can. Look, his head's turning, he's shaking his head. There, he's on the surface. See him on the surface there? Oh, nice fish. Oh.
Just tail walking there, slipping.
Yeah, it'd be hard to see with the camera there, but
Right
he was
through the
slipping
swell.
on the surface there. He's... Whoa.
Well, I've seen about half that fish, and it's looking healthy.
Yeah, it is. Look at the water here. There it is. Net there?
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Got him?
Nice fish, Gary.
Hey.
What would you like to do with this fish?
Well, we'll bring him to the boat here first of all.
He's high, mid 20s, high 20s.
Yeah. In and then we can.
I got the tape ready there if you'd like. It might be. Oh yeah, it's a tie, I think. Oh no.
No,
It's high 20s. Look at how deep he is. Look at the shoulders.
See how mature he's getting? He's.
Do you want me to get a tape on him, or do you want to bump him?
No, we're not gonna fall.
Got 48. Maybe I got the wrong end. 43.
Up on the belly there, Mark.
Right there. 23 and a half. I gotta do the length again just to make sure. 23 and a half. No, yeah, he wasn't 43. 36. 23 and a half, 36.
Good.
Okay, here, hold on for 1 second. I have to help you, so
Busy ever.
we're gonna ask the cameraman.
That's a nice Chinook.
Take a picture of the two of us here. You want to do that, my friend? Do it. I'll put the camera there.
Oh, he's still kicking. He's kicking. I think I'm still on
Okay,
there.
we're gonna let him go
Oh,
here.
he's getting back. Come on, baby. Look at that. Nice fish. Come on, baby. Kick for me. Oh, I felt it. There he goes.
There he goes. Hey.
Hey, another job. Well done.
Hey, that was a job well done by you, my friend. You called her. Good man.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Let's get these lines back in the water.
Gotcha.
Woo! Hell yeah. That's what it's all about right
That's what
there.
it's all about. Out here in the slot.
We've been using Atomic plugs. This has been our luckiest plug lately. Very simple, effective way to fish. Basically, run your main line right through this hole and tie your hook on the other side. If a fish was ever to break this line, the plug would float right off to the surface and you could retrieve it. So, as you see with this Atomic plug, what I've done is implanted an E-chip in here. Now, what the E-chip does is it emits the electrical signal that the nervous system of a bait fish would output, and which is one of the ways that fish hunt for their prey. So it's just another little trick that we use with these plugs. One of the main advantages of plugs is that you control them of speeds up to 3.5, even 4 miles an hour when targeting Coho, and even with Chinook, 3 to 3.5 miles an hour isn't too fast. So you cover a lot of ground. When the fish are spotty, it can be a very effective method for fishing. We use a variety of different colors and sizes. If you want to have a look down at my tackle box here. Lots of other good ones that I use here. The 500. This is a 606 Atomic. The 600 series are all glow bellies. They're very white underneath, which is very effective for salmon around Rivers Inlet. Salmon seem to really like the white belly of all the 600 series. Be it a 602, 606, or a 600 flat, they're all very effective plugs. So you get one plug and you really like it and you stick with it, and it works over the years, and they work well.